Bhagavad Gita Chapter 6 Dhyan Yoga, the Yoga of Meditation. Sloka chanting is followed by translation and commentary by Swami Mukundananda.
jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna-sukha-duhkheshu tatha manapamanayoh.
The yogis who have conquered the mind rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, and honor and dishonor. Such yogis remain peaceful and steadfast in their devotion to God. We have the mind and the five senses associated with the mind. Some things give pleasure to the senses. Some things are displeasurable to the senses. Like, for example, too much of heat, too much of cold. Now that is displeasurable. So when the mind is not controlled, it seeks pleasure, but the pleasure of the senses. And there is another kind of pleasure, the pleasure of the soul. For those who want to reach within and relish that inner joy, they have to learn to become tolerant to the urges of the senses. So what are the urges of the senses? Hankering and aversion. The senses, they hanker for what is pleasant, and they are averse to what is unpleasant. So for somebody whose mind is not subdued, one is always subjected to hankering and aversion. And here Shree Krishna is saying, jitatmanah, one who has conquered the mind, rises above such dualities. The dualities will remain. The summer will come, the winter will come, honor will come, dishonor will come. So what do we people do? We love to be praised. We hate to be criticized. Now imagine a different scenario where you love to be criticized. Imagine how liberating it will be. Doesn't matter how anybody behaves. One gentleman called For has written a book called The Law of the Garbage Truck. What happened was that he was a passenger in a taxi, and the car was about to park somewhere when another car came and jumped into that place ahead of the taxi driver. And instead of being apologetic, he started gesticulating wildly at the taxi driver as if it was the driver's mistake. The driver said, yes. For was very impressed. He said, wow, that guy, for no mistake of yours, was scolding you, and you took it so serenely. The taxi driver said, sir, some people are like a garbage truck. Now the garbage truck carries garbage inside it, and it spills it here and there from time to time. If it spills on you, it is not because of some problem in you, but because the garbage truck is carrying that. Likewise, people who have negativity, they will spill it on you. Now you become upset. Why did he say this? Why did she say that? Then you will be subject to be controlled by the behavior of others. That means the key of your emotions will lie in the hands of the others. If my mother-in-law is nice to me, then I am happy. If my mother-in-law is not nice to me, then I am unhappy. So now the mother-in-law is controlling the moods. But Shree Krishna is giving a different paradigm, where you are equitable to both, honor and dishonor, praise and criticism, fame and infamy. Why? Because you realize these are all externals. These are the pleasures the mind seeks, but the soul will never be satisfied by these. One guru, he was asked by his disciple, what will please God? The guru said, go to the graveyard and start cursing all these corpses that are lying there. He went, there were a whole lot of graves, he cursed them all and came back. Guru Agya, have to follow. So Guruji said, okay, now do one thing, go again. This time you praise them all. So he went, last time I made a mistake, I didn't realize your greatness, you are actually glorious, you are so tolerant, you lie in the mud without any feelings. And he came back. So Guruji said, did they respond differently when you praised them versus when you criticized them? Said Guruji, no, it was all the same. Guruji said, that is the answer to your question. You asked me that what should I do and be that will be pleasing to God? If you can behave like this, equitable. That is what Shree Krishna is saying here, that somebody who is jitatmanah, who has conquered the mind. So this word atma comes in different contexts. Sometimes it means mind. Here it is jitatmanah means conquered the mind. So shitoshna-sukha-duhkheshu is one is equipoised in all these situations. So we have this negativity bias of the mind, right? Somebody has praised you 10 times and you digest it all. But he has criticized you one time and the mind keeps on rotating. Why did he criticize? Why did he criticize? Why did he criticize? We forget all the praises. So, the point is that criticism will always come. And if you become successful, you will get even more criticism. Because the law of the world is, everybody wishes to be successful. But people don't like to see others successful, because it makes them look bad. So if you become successful, don't be astonished if your friends and relatives, like the insects coming out of the woodwork, they come out to criticize you. Now, our mind makes a big deal out of it. One man went to the restaurant and said, would you like to buy 1,000,000 frogs' legs? There was a Chinese restaurant and Chinese eat frogs' legs. So he said, do you want to buy 1,000,000 frogs' legs? The restaurant owner said, where will you get 1,000,000 frogs' legs? He said, just outside, on the garden outside my window, there are 1,000,000 frogs croaking. So the owner said, let's start with 10. You get 10 of them. So he went, tried to catch the frogs, and he got 2. And he went and gave them to the restaurant owner, that here. The owner said that these are just 2 frogs. You were talking about 1,000,000. He said, yes, but the sound they were making was of 1,000,000 frogs. That is our own bias of our mind. So instead of that, we need to develop a little bit of equipoise. So, when you become equipoised, the test is that negative situations, adverse situations, you can take them in your stride without getting disturbed. There's a beautiful Nelson Mandela we have heard, who became the first president of apartheid-free South Africa. And prior to that point, for 27 years, he was jailed. Imagine 27 years of your life you be jailed. And then he got released. So somebody interviewed him and said that how did you bear with that how did you survive through that ordeal of 27 years? Nelson Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. So what a beautiful attitude it is. If your attitude is bear with it is difficult times, then naturally you'll have a different mindset. And if you change your mindset that I am preparing, these difficulties are for helping me grow, then you'll say, all right, never mind, oh God, whatever you feel is fit for me, you decide and put it in my way and I'll take it in my stride. It doesn't matter to me. So, that is the way we need to speak to ourselves. Not that the world is so difficult and I have to bear with it, but the world is preparing me. All the difficulties, all the hardships. Now, as you do your self-talk, that is how your subconscious will get programmed. We have to, the takeaway from this verse is, learn to be equipoised.